Hello and welcome to Movie Intermissions. My name is Vandalous.
I'm TechNinja.
Thank you. And today is a new podcast we're doing. This is a very rambly, off-the-wall thing that we're going to do for new movies we see.
And yes, there are spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, don't watch.
Yeah, these are always going to be spoiler casts. So if you do not want to hear anything spoiler related, don't watch this. Go watch the movie and then come back and listen to this so you can hear our thoughts. So for this movie intermissions, we're going to be talking about Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
So as everyone's read at this point, I assume you've read, it's been getting bad reviews.
For some reason.
Well, I can see where the bad reviews come from, but at the same time, they still piss me off.
It's so weird. I don't know. Like, I will say that there were points in the movie where it was like kind of hard to follow a little bit because it was just jumping. But overall, the movie was a good movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it again because I actually liked it.
Yeah.
And what helps here is that I'm more of a DC fan and Vandalous is a Marvel fan. And the biggest thing I've seen so far is that people have been comparing it to the MCU. Maybe not outright comparing it, but when they talk about certain things, like one review I read where these characters were too dark and gloomy and they were brooding and they were dealing with stuff, their own personal demons, that's DC for you now.
Yeah, it's like TechNinja said, like, I love Marvel, but I also have a special place in my heart for DC movies, especially Batman related movies. Batman is my favorite DC character, and my favorite Batman character is the Red Hood. And I just can't wait for that solo Batman film that's going to be basically under the Red Hood. But anyway, I don't get what people are so upset about. Like, my honest opinion, Ben Affleck is the best Batman right now.
And I'm going to agree with that. So, for this Batman, it was 20 years later after he started being Batman, which is one thing that I don't know if a lot of people pick up on, but this is old Batman, per se.
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
So this is also the Batman who's gotten to the point of he's lost Robin. This is Jason Todd Robin.
This is a Batman that has had Dick Grayson, a.k.a. the first Robin, a.k.a. Nightwing now, who has left him, has basically said, screw you, Batman. And
wouldn't do his own thing.
Yeah, wouldn't do his own thing. He's in where is he?
Bloodhaven.
Yeah, Bloodhaven. No, is it?
Yeah,
Bloodhaven. And then he picks up Jason Todd, who's a bit more chaotic as Robin.
I thought it was Tim, then Jason.
No, Jason was always second.
Okay.
He picks up Jason, and if you don't know the Red Hood story, Batman was on a mission with Robin, aka the Jason Todd Robin, and Ra's al Ghul had hired the Joker to kind of distract Batman while he was doing his thing, and the Joker kills Robin, and basically Batman at that point said, alright, no more kids, no more sidekicks, this is just all me, which of course we know didn't last for very long.
And then Ra's, who felt bad for having for death of Robin because he didn't realize Joker was completely psychotic, decided to resurrect him. And don't resurrect dead people with Lazarus Pit.
Yes, it never works out. I mean, it does, but not in the right
properly.
way. Yeah, go watch Arrow. You'll see what we mean.
But when Jason came back, he was crazy.
So here's the thing, because I've been looking at this a lot. I bought a book called Batman in Psychology. And what it talks about Jason Todd is he does have a mental condition. He basically has an inferiority complex, which is why he took on the name Red Hood, because he was trying to take something away from Joker, because that was Joker's original moniker before he was thrown into the chemical vat and became Joker. So, I mean, Jason is completely sane. When he first came out the pit, yeah, he was crazy. If you watch Batman Under the Red Hood, you see him come out, he freaks out and leaves. But once his
mind
he gets
settles.
Once his mind settles, he's actually completely fine. And when the comics, he was when Batman was talking to him, he said he basically said, I can't remember exactly. He says something along the lines of, Do I kill people? Yes. Am I going to kill people? Probably. But I will not be kept in your kennel of freaks, because he actually passed the psych eval. Like, he's totally in his right mind. He just kills people because he feels like that's what has to be done. So, man, that was a tangent. But anyway, this is Batman after Jason Todd.
So they didn't really say if there was another one yet, which would have been Red Robin after a little while. But at this point, he's really pissed off about everything.
Yeah, you can just see it on his face.
And it doesn't help that the movie picks up on the tail end of Man of Steel, where Superman and Zod are fighting, and one of the Wayne buildings gets destroyed, and a lot of people die, and we're introduced to Wally, who lost his legs. He has come up, and he's important. So
not Wally West.
Yeah, not that Wally. But at that point, Bruce he doesn't like Superman because he doesn't take responsibility.
He feels, well, I mean, it's obvious, but Superman has too much power.
Yeah. And so he plans to kill him, and it's an 18-month event. Well, at least it starts with 18 months.
Yeah.
For the first leap, then it's like another 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting time jump to catch up with. But yeah, they really did show that Superman and Batman have reasons to fight each other now. Yeah,
it's not like, it isn't just like they just happen to like
bump heads, like, oh, you're in my city, now I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah, it's like there are like a legitimate reason that both Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent do not like Batman and Superman, respectively.
Yeah, and they demonstrate with Batman's version of justice, where he's branding people, he is torturing them.
This is a dark Batman. Like, this is a dark Batman, and Batman is a dark character.
I mean, with Frank Miller's influence, this is more like Frank Miller just gone into the deep end, and that, yeah. If you know what Frank Miller, he's the guy who made Batman dark initially, and it kind of rolled on from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the darkest Batman I've ever seen.
It
makes the Arkham Knight Batman seem a little tame.
Yeah. Oh man, that fight scene though, where he saves Martha Kent, is so good. Like, that's why, like, obviously, I mean, that's a stuntman, but the reason I feel like this is like the best Batman so far is like just look at the other Batman movies. They're all so stiff. They don't really move around a lot. And I don't know, their combat just feels like choppy to me. But this is like, I mean, the suit is perfect because
it's free flowing.
It's obviously it's padded and protected, but it's free flowing. It allows him to move around and just demolish people.
Yeah. So with the combat, the other thing I liked about the movie was that they used 2 different plots. So there's the Batman vs Superman Return of the Dark Knight plot that, if you ever read that comic or seen the show, the movie for it, it's pretty much Batman came back and started doing stuff, and they eventually sent Superman after him, with they being the government. This one, they do take part of that, where it is Superman versus Batman after he gets really brutal with his work.
Yeah.
But the other plot they used was the
Doomsday.
Doomsday. Well, there are 3 then. So Doomsday, Batman vs Superman, and then you would have had to play Injustice or read the comics, but is where Superman takes over the world.
This is what I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because this is probably the most interesting thing, and I don't know if anyone else has picked up on this, but in the movie, there's a part where Bruce Wayne is sleeping and he gets woken up abruptly because, I'm guessing it's Barry. Barry Allen, aka The Flash, he goes back in time, and it looks like he's being pulled by like the Time Force or whatever, and he's telling Bruce Wayne, he's like, you were right about him. You were right. The key is Lois. The key is Lois. Find us. Find us. And then like he snaps back, and then Bruce wakes up again. And then, so that's one dream sequence. And the second dream sequence is the one everyone's seen, where Batman's in like the trench coat and he's in like this weird desert scene. But yeah, it kind of takes from Injustice, where there are like Superman soldiers. They have like the brand, the Superman signal on on their arm, and like they're killing people. So what I think is that due to Flash coming back in time, Bruce is having not dreams but visions of a future where they don't save Lois Lane, and Superman goes crazy.
Yeah, so they don't talk about a whole lot after that shows up, but it does kind of indicate that Superman's still unstable.
Yeah.
To some extent. And it is kind of hard to follow because of all the jumps they do. But if you at least do know some of the lore for DC, it does kind of make sense as you go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you watch the TV show The Flash, and while they don't play into each other, the show and the movie, it does at least let you know that he can run back in time.
Yeah.
He has that power, so it's possible that this occurred. Plus, with the whole Injustice universe where Superman has taken over,
mm-hmm.
he does go killing people at that point. He killed the Joker first.
Yeah.
Which, that got brutal.
Yeah.
So, that's why for a lot of people, I think that's why they had a hard time following it
mm-hmm.
and enjoying it, because they just don't know where things are going.
Yeah, exactly.
And dream sequences are always kind of a pain to follow with.
Yeah, but that was like my first thought when I saw those dreams. Like, after seeing Flash come back in time, it's like, yes, those are not dreams. They are things that Bruce has not yet experienced, that his mind is experiencing, like, from the time jump. And so, for all we know, events could have changed, but
it's still a possibility.
It's still a possibility that they don't save Lois Lane and Superman goes crazy.
The one plot point that did bug me, well, there are two, but I'll start with this one. When they set up Superman as the guy who's going around murdering these people, why did no one do autopsies on any of these bodies? Because there's a security force there who just starts shooting people and then they leave.
Yeah.
Now, the idea of, Lois Lane was there so Superman always shows up, that made sense. That they would use Lois Lane as a bait.
Right.
But Superman doesn't fly around shooting people with assault rifles.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. He's Superman.
He could punch everyone to death, which there'd be either blood all over the place or just giant fist-shaped holes in everyone's chest.
Exactly.
So why did no one just go, hey, how did these people die? Well, Superman was here, so we just assume he killed him. That doesn't make sense. So that's kind of the first plot point of, these people aren't looking into it very well.
Yeah.
And I get that some people wouldn't have gone and checked or wouldn't have known to look, but later on they have a person who had survived, who could testify, and she's saying, Superman did it. Like, what? You heard him fly by, you didn't hear anyone shooting a gun? Guns are pretty loud.
Yeah.
You can't just have not heard that.
I agree completely.
So that's kind of the first plot point that bugged me.
What was the second one?
How did they get their identities? Like, not how did they acquire, but how did Lex Luthor figure out who they were?
I don't think he knows who Batman is.
He implied...
No, he only said that he knew about... he straight up calls him Clark, or Ken. He calls him Ken.
He knows who Superman is, but he never said when he found out, which I don't necessarily care about that, but they also never said...
Well, remember, this has also been... Since that attack, Lex has been looking into a way to get rid of Superman.
Yeah, so the 18 months thing that may have just covered it over, but it does kind of bug me that he just knows all of this already, and they give no indication of when he found out.
Well, this is the only thing that would probably make sense, and that is the fallen Kryptonian ship. Remember, because he was able to get all the information from the ship.
Right.
So, he... Somewhere along the lines, that information probably came across from him through the Kryptonian ship. Maybe. And that's a big maybe. But like I said, he's been planning this thing for a long time now. So who knows when he figured out Clark's identity. But, I mean, it's Lex. It makes sense.
Yeah, when Batman said his name, that at that point it was like, it's Batman. He usually finds out somehow due to satellites something.
Yeah.
It was just a little weird when Clark just called him Bruce.
Well,
I know at some point they normally do know who they are. But
X-ray vision.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like they didn't really show or imply. He just like, hey, Bruce. Okay, when did you pick? He could have picked it up at some point. Just
maybe at the party. Remember, he was listening.
Yeah, I do get that, but it felt weird that they never really clearly showed him going. Okay, I put the two together. It was just, oh yeah, I know who you are now. Like, okay, where did this come from?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't seem fazed.
No, he really didn't.
Which is funny.
Yeah, I mean, he was pissed. He was going to kill him initially anyway. So.
True. What do you think of Lex? What do you think of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor?
I think it's mixed feelings on him. I do and don't like how he was that young go-getter business guy who's really up close and who's really friendly with his coworkers and likes to really encourage certain things, but at the same time, knowing being used to the more mature and very serious-minded Lex Luthor, it felt weird seeing someone like this.
I think what they were trying to do is really push the Lex is crazy agenda with it. Because older Lex that we've seen isn't necessarily crazy. He's just a bad person. He just does evil things because it will make him more powerful. And that's really all that matters to him. This Lex didn't really feel like, I want power, and I will do anything to achieve that power. It felt more along the lines of like he knew of something, and he was either contacted or figured, oh, I can do this, and this evil presence will give me power or something, which is always the eventual goal. But I'm kind of like in the same mixed bag. I kind of like it, but then at the same time, there are things I didn't quite understand. Like when he was doing that speech and he like got flustered and forgot what he was trying to say.
That I can get for some. He's not used to it. I could see that.
Well, why wouldn't you be used to like giving speeches of any kind?
Some people get stage fright. It can happen to anyone, but it just seemed like he was one of the two. Like he has so much going through his mind that he just kind of froze up for a moment.
Maybe. He is a genius after all.
But the thing that bugged me the most with Lex was his whole tangent on religious imagery.
Yeah, it was very strange because he's never been that way before.
Yeah, so there's a painting that has angels coming from heaven, demons coming from hell. But this time he's like, well, maybe they should flip it around because the demons are coming from heaven. It's like, where are you going with this? Then later on he goes on this tangent of naming off God and just like, seriously, where are you going with this now?
Yeah, it's very strange. Like, I don't really know what it is. I mean,
because I get who he was applying to what, because Superman was apparently the angel, Batman was man, he was kind of clumping himself with that, and then Doomsday was the devil, but it was just everywhere with this guy.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things.
Yeah, you gotta, like, get used to it.
Yeah, and then...
I mean, I don't know. To us, to everyone else, he's never really been that way, but in this movie, he's very, like, religious for some... It's not even like he's religious. No, he's just applying religious figures to these things to make sense of it.
And it felt very weird for him to do that.
Yeah.
And then that kind of leads with Doomsday, how he was created.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really care that much that he was made through the body of Zod and the blood of Luthor, which... It's weird, very weird, but at the same time it kind of made sense in the fact that the Kryptonian computer was already set where it would reject imperfections, and with the human DNA being applied to Kryptonian, it didn't match, so they would let's get rid of it. And it seemed like there was more stuff to it that needed to be explained, but was kind of left out just because it was a long movie already.
Well, I mean, I kind of like the reasoning they gave in the movie when the computer was like, we don't accept deformities, and Lex was like, who says that? And they were like, the Kryptonian Council. He's like, where are they? And the computer's like, they're gone. He's like, then proceed. I mean,
yeah, that made sense.
That's why I feel like that didn't really bother me as much, because it's like, he's in control of the ship now. There is no Kryptonian Council, so it doesn't really matter. Just do it, you know?
Yeah, and then the one thing with Doomsday that kind of made me wonder, where were his pants? I know he was already without pants.
Well, I mean,
body, but
there are certain Doomsdays that don't have clothing.
Yeah,
I think you just... I know, it's one of those things... same thing in Fantastic Four, the recent one, which is god-awful. But the Thing wears pants, and throughout the entirety of this movie, he's not wearing pants. Even at the end of the movie, he doesn't have pants on. It's like... What is going... I don't care if you're made of rocks. It's weird. Like, with Doomsday, it didn't feel weird, because...
He wasn't humanoid.
Yeah, exactly. He was a monster, so it didn't feel weird. With the Thing, it feels weird because he's always worn pants. Or at least a Speedo. Just something covering up, you know?
Yeah. The other thing that they could have used a little more expanding on was Wonder Woman. And not necessarily give her entire backstory. That's saving up for the movie. But just enough to, like... Because you don't realize who it is at all until they find the picture. And the whole time it's just like, oh, I thought she was a terrorist. And suddenly, oh, Wonder Woman. Like, oh, okay, that's cool, but oh.
You didn't know she was Wonder Woman?
I didn't, because only time I'd seen the actor was in the Wonder Woman outfit. So I didn't put her together with being in the dress.
Oh, I knew that immediately going in. I was like, oh, it's Princess Diana.
Well, I didn't, because they really didn't mention her name either.
No, they didn't say her. They said Diana Prince, and at that point, I was like, all right, that's Princess Diana.
And I mean, it eventually clicked for me, but it was just a little weird how they introduced her. So for me, that was kind of like the one weird thing.
I do feel like...
Also,
I don't feel like they're not saying her Wonder Woman title and just calling her Diana Prince, her name.
Yeah, that, without not calling her that was fine.
Yeah.
It was just how they introduced her just kind of felt like...
Yeah, she just felt like a socialite. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, hey, I'm here. Like, oh, okay. Hi.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from?
Yeah, when she first showed up, it was like, all right, she's here for some reason, but as they kept showing her, I was like, okay, she's pretending to be a socialite. She's blending in as best as she can with human society. Not human society, with American society, because she's an Amazonian.
And she's also been around for 100 years, so...
Or longer. She's been around longer.
Well, I mean, in the U.S.
Yes, at least. I
still liked her character.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome.
But there was still... They kept her underdeveloped for the movie, but they could have at least mentioned a little bit more to get you going.
I feel like they were really just doing in the mentioning bits just because they're getting our movies. Like, when they showed off Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. How cool was that, by the way? I like the Aquaman one a lot, where you just see the eyes, and then he just comes out with, like, the trident.
Yeah, so they didn't really give him very long cameos. They're about 30 seconds apiece, really.
Yeah.
So, Flash... Oh, we'll start with Aquaman. So yeah, he has blue eyes that you can see in the darkness. Then he shows up, and you can see that he's looking at the
camera. Yeah.
Then he just takes one out so fast. It's like, oh.
And then he swims at super speeds, and it's awesome.
So I really do hope to see more of him in the next movie,
or
definitely. At least in the extended cut. And then for
Flash.
Cyborg,
we'll save Cyborg last because that was the coolest one in my opinion. Okay. I just really liked Aquaman's. With Flash,
he looked like a hipster.
Yeah, he looks like he's got like long hair. I really don't know. They haven't said if it's Barry or Wally. I'm assuming it's Barry.
I think they've mentioned that it is Barry Allen.
It is Barry Allen?
But they also this is the younger version of him, so it's not...
Yeah, he's not in CSI yet.
Yeah, so
it's weird seeing him with like long hair and like...
a beard,
yeah,
goatee thing.
But what they show is like a convenience store robbery, and he's just like getting milk, and the store owner's getting held up, and so you just see him look over, and you just see like the flash, and he comes back. And, like, you know, of course, the electricity comes off and the lights start going crazy. And he just, like, walks up to the register with, like, his milk.
Like, oh, what was that?
Yeah. And then Cyborgs.
So, the actor who played Silas Stone, Cyborg's father, I'm going to look up his name right now because I can't remember it to save my life. But he was in Terminator and a show called Eureka. And he's a really great sci-fi actor, too. And give me one moment, because he's been in a lot of sci-fi things.
Yeah, so I can say for a certainty we're going to see Silas Stone working with Cyborg to like help him get acclimated to his new body and stuff. But oh man, just seeing like I don't even know what that cube was.
I'm assuming it's the boom tube.
You think it's the boom tube?
Because that's how they've been portraying him recently.
Okay, because that's awesome then.
Yeah, it's a really interesting tech. It's because before that's how we got some of his a lot of his powers came from that, but it's always come from the some form of aliens technology.
Yeah, it's just the way they show the boom tube. It's like this giant cube that's just like rippling and has like blue lights on the inside. And Silas Stone like takes it over to
Joe Morton.
Joe Morton. His father. Okay, and he takes it over to Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, and it just starts bonding to him, and you just Cyborg's like, just like starts screaming in pain, and Silas Stone like cuts the camera off real quick. I thought that was like the coolest thing, just because it's just like he's like talking to the camera. He's like, I'm trying to find a way to save my son's life, and you see Cyborg
just held up on this really weird table.
Yeah, he's like his whole lower half is gone, like his spine, and I guess some of his organs are like in a tube, and he's got only one arm, and it's just like I want to know what happened to him.
Yeah, so there's a lot that needs to be explained for all of them, obviously. But it's been a good setup so far. Yeah. Like I said, there are some weird things here and there. The pacing is a little funky because it's got like a slower start and picks up suddenly, slows down again and picks up again.
Mm-hmm.
So their pacing was a little weird, but for a setup movie, I really did enjoy it. And yeah, there are those nitpicky things that you don't like, but I like that they did keep true to most of the, at least, not even true, but they at least kept the story to the extent where you can follow it if you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It is tough to follow for new people. Sorry again. It's tough to follow for people who aren't used to DC because like there's just a lot going on.
Yeah,
with characters.
I would definitely say, as like a final thought, that if you don't really know too much about DC, you are going to have a hard time following this. What I would say, I mean, I know people who are watching this are not going to want to be spoiled or anything, but
you did watch this all the way through. We warned you.
Yes, so if you don't know anything about the movie, haven't seen it, then sorry. But what I will say is definitely look into these characters' backstories. Look into the stories, the comic book stories that this movie is based around, and try and understand it, because it's not a Marvel movie. It's not going to be a Marvel movie. And that's okay, because DC has always been its own thing. It's always been dark. It's always been brooding. There's always been some sort of death going on around them.
It hasn't always been dark, but it's been.
I mean,
for the past
yes,
decade at least.
For the past decade, it has been a very like dark universe for DC. So, I would just say go in with an open mind. Try and enjoy it as best you can. If you don't know anything about the characters, like I said, go back, read up some of the backstory, and appreciate it for a not Marvel movie.
Yeah, you can't compare everything to Marvel. It's not Marvel.
No.
One last thing that I forgot to mention: Gotham and Metropolis are not that close. That's probably the biggest thing to set people off. You can't go. Superman can't go. Oh, it looks like Batman's out tonight. He just doesn't do.
Yeah, Metropolis and Gotham are not very close. It's very strange that they did that. I guess they were just trying to like create just for convenience for both characters to travel close enough, in proximity. But I don't know. But that's been Movie Intermission. I hope you enjoyed it, especially for those who didn't listen to the spoiler warning.
Yeah, if you are mad that you spoiled from some of this movie, just go watch it now. You know what's coming up.
Yeah.
And you know how to be prepared to some extent.
Yes. So, once again, I've been Vandalous.
You've been... What?
What? It's late. I'm Vandalous.
I'm TechNinja.
And this has been Movie Intermission. See you later.